I had a call with the candidate yesterday who informed me that everything was just fine. He was knocking on doors with his printed up paper, and he had a list, and he was able to keep track of his donors. And I thought, oh my God, are you doing that on a horse and buggy? Right? May as well do it on horseback or start sending out telegrams to win the election. So if you want to have a campaign that exists in the 21st century, stay tuned and we'll talk about 4 ways to revolutionize your campaign.
Ready for the revolution.
We have canvassing software that you can use on your phone that will allow you to keep track of your voters that way. You can keep track of the conversations that you have with them. You can make sure that if there are any changes in the list, they can be adjusted automatically. And you can keep track of the people whose doors you've knocked on and whose doors you have not knocked on. Much easier. That way, if you go through a street and you had a personal conversation with these houses, but just left a piece of literature for these houses, we know to send an extra couple pieces of mail to the houses that didn't have that personal conversation with you. It's all about data and making sure you revolutionize your campaign with tip number 1, use canvassing software such as Voter Gravity or eCanvasser. There's a lot of them out there, but those are I tend to lean towards those 2 because they're just really easy to get set up and they're reasonably priced, and you typically don't have to deal with a bunch of bureaucracy and BS when you deal with them. Versus i360, which they're like, our system is the greatest system and you have the privilege of using the system. And so as gods of the realm of data, it's just nice to deal with real human beings who will respect you, which is why I like Voter Gravity and eCanvasser for most campaigns. Number 2, have an online donation portal. I have local candidates in my county who know me and have heard me talk about this, who I can still only donate to if I mail them a check. I refuse to do that because if your campaign is so outdated that you can't even have an online donation portal, you don't deserve my donations, and I hope that everyone will remember that, especially if you're in Ohio and have the nerve to ask me for money. So you got to make sure that you have your campaign website up and ready to go. Doesn't have to be perfect, but you have to at least have a donation page. That way, when you call people and ask them to donate to your campaign, you can send them a link or to a website where it can go. You can use a couple of websites. There's Anodyne and Raise the Money. These are 2 websites. It's relatively easy to get set up. Anodyne's way easier than Raise the Money. But Raise the Money is a good platform if you can eventually get in. Sometimes it takes 2 weeks to get approved, where Anodyne has you up and running in like 15 minutes. And that's why I like to refer people to Anodyne first, because you're up and running really quickly. So this is a quick, easy way to make sure that you're ready to actually take in campaign donations. Which brings us to point number 3, making sure you have a website that's mobile and desktop compatible. So what happens if somebody accesses your website on their phone? You don't want the desktop version to show up, you want the phone version to show up. A lot of times WordPress templates will do this for you automatically, and a lot of website companies have already created their builders, whether it be Squarespace or Wix or Weebly. These are providers that automatically have settings that allow you to make those adjustments, and you need to make sure you do so. It makes you look much more professional, like you've got a real serious campaign. Now you've got your donation button, everything rolls in. And tip number 4 is to use social media. Candidates have a tendency to be a little afraid of using social media because they're afraid of posts they make today will come back in like 2075 and now they can't get elected governor or president or whatever. So don't worry, you use social media just to emphasize what you're already doing. If you give a speech, have a 60-second clip of your favorite part of the speech uploaded. If you're meeting volunteers, have a 60-second clip or a 30-second clip of you talking to volunteers and having that dialogue and conversation. It brings your campaign into the 21st century. It shows people that you're engaged, and it helps to communicate your message. So these are 4 key ways that you can make your campaign look like it's professional, it's ready for the 21st century, that you've got your stuff together, and it's worth support. Good luck.